Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. You know, with the Yontif, so busy with all the Hachanas of Yontif, there's a very important detail you should not forget. You know, we speak about the mitzvah of Simchas Yontif, Samachta B'chagecha. The Gemara says, and it's brought in Shulchan Aruch, that every person has a chiyuv to fulfill Simchas Yontif, Samachta B'chagecha, but just like he has a chiyuv on himself to fulfill that requirement of Simcha, he has a chiyuv to required to do the same to his family. And the Gemara says in Rosh Hashanah, Isha Baila Misamcha, that a woman, her husband, has to make her happy. And Rashi is metzayin to the Gemara in Kedushin, where Rashi in Kedushin says like this: Ein choivas hasimcha tluya ba, ela al baila sheyisamchena. The chiyuv of simcha is different. Simchas Yontif is different for a male than for a female. A man has the chiyuv b'basar v'shlamim, b'basar b'yayin. He has to eat or drink certain foods, and that's how he fulfills the mitzvah. And it's his responsibility to take care of it, his responsibility, his obligation. Whereas part of the mitzvah simcha of the woman, of the female, is sheyisamchena. It's a responsibility on the husband to make her happy. There's a fascinating story that the Gemara says in Chagiga. The Gemara says Rav Idi bar Avua de Rabbi Yaakov. Rav Idi had this, I don't want to use chas v'shalom the word strange custom, but he had this custom that he would travel 3 months after Pesach to get to a certain yeshiva where his Rebbe was. Now after Pesach, there is only a certain amount of months and time that before you have to get back home. So he traveled 3 months to get to yeshiva to see his Rebbe and hear a shir. And then next day he had to turn around and head back. Why did he head back? Because he made sure to be back in time for Sukkot. Because on Sukkot there's a mitzvah, him as a good husband, as a Torah husband, to be misameach his wife. V'simach asishtoi. So he traveled 3 months after Pesach to be in yeshiva for 1 day and headed back. Because that's how important it was, the concept of Simchas Ishtoi on Yontif. Now, how one fulfills the mitzvah of Simchas Ishtoi, Simcha, and now that you know that it's an obligation on the man, so the Alter Rebbe brings, and the Rambam brings, and the all Poskim bring that the chiyuv by a man is to drink wine and to eat meat. Not by a woman, not necessarily she has to drink wine, the same chiyuv. It actually says, Mesamcha, you make her happy by buying her a present, buying her new clothes. So if you look in the Achrayim of today, they discuss, does he have to surprise her? Does he literally have to buy the garment? Or be hayosh that he's a shlamazel and he doesn't know what to buy, who to buy, so he just pushes her and he says, please take the money and go buy yourself something. Would that be good enough? And that's a discussion. But the bottom line is a chiyuv on every husband to be mesameach his wife on Yontif. It's part of Simchas Yontif. Now, it's a very important mitzvah, especially when you hear about what Chazal say, that one of the reasons it's mentioned why you say Shalom Aleichem on Friday night, it says because Nebuch Friday during the day is a very busy day. People are hustling and bustling and working, and it could be that there was Nebuch Chas v'Shalom, a dispute between the husband and wife. So you say Shalom Aleichem and Eishes Chayil by night to sort of appease, make up during that time when Shabbos enters. All the hustle and bustle of getting ready, of cleaning for Pesach, and working for Pesach, and working for every Yom Tov, it's always important to remember Simchas Ishtoi, V'simach, that she has a chiyuv of Simcha, not she has a chiyuv. The husband has a chiyuv to be mesameach his wife by buying her a present. So I want to conclude this with 2 thoughts. The Chazal tell us that La'asad Lavoi, the Eibishter is going to give tzaddikim shai oilamos, 310 oilamos, levels in oilam haba. And the Mefarshim ask, why shy? Why 310? What's unique about that number? So one of the Mefarshim explains, there are 620 mitzvahs, 613 mitzvahs d'oraisa, and 7 mitzvahs d'rabbanon. That's 620 mitzvahs. Half of 620 is 310. Even if there is somebody who fulfilled all 620 mitzvahs and properly to the best, he will only get 310. Because the second 310, and most probably the more important 310, goes to his wife. His wife for pushing him and encouraging him. The wife who makes the atmosphere of Torah mitzvahs, and that's what's important in life. She deserves to get the second, or perhaps the first 310 elamis. And then there is a fascinating story that most probably will bring this point even better. There's the story of this great individual who literally held out a whole shtetl, the old Alta Shtetlach. He sat and learned all day. He was a Yid and Usher, and he supported anybody. And he was the most nicest person. Everybody loved him. He helped everybody. And the secret behind the story was that when he got married, his wife says, "You sit and learn, and I will support you." She started off with a small store, and Baruch Hashem, the Eibishter gave her success, mazel, and from a little store, she became a very big store, and it became a very big store, a chain of stores, and she was the Aisha, she was the Ashira that supported the husband. The husband was the one that distributed all the money. So when the husband was elder and he passed away, it was a total shock for the community. People couldn't get over it. This is like the biggest hero of the town. He helped everybody. The Rav came to the Levaya, couldn't stop crying. For weeks and months, couldn't get over it. Whereas the wife, after Shiva, after Shleishim, went back to work and did her thing. 2-3 years later, now you have to understand that the wife, being that she was a Shira, still continued giving tzedakah. When she passed away, the Rav or the Rebbe obviously was another shock. But that night after the Levaya, the Rav sat down and gave a shir like for bringing like usual. So they turned to the Rav and they said, "We don't get it. We all know that the husband's money was all hers. So why, when the shock of the husband, it lasted for months and months, and this one, the wife passes away right that night, you're already back to normal?" She says, "I'll tell you what happened. After the husband passed away, he came up to Shemayim. In Shemayim, they gave him a grand tour, and they showed him what he accomplished in this world. And they told him, Kol Yisrael yesh lehem chelik. Every Yid has a place in the world to come. But chelik means a lot. Some people just have a lot. Some people have a building. Some people have a palace. Some people have a beautiful palace. It all depends on your mitzvahs and ma'asim tovim. So of course, this individual who supported so many people came up to Shemayim. They showed him his lot. His lot wasn't a regular lot. He's a Yid ben Torah, from a Yid. He gave tzedakah. They showed him his mansion, room by room, and it was wonderful. He says, "Okay, let me in. She said, if you get in, you need the keys." She says, "What do you mean? Where's the keys?" She says, "The keys is by your wife. Your wife has your keys, and she's still in Olam Hazeh." So for 2.5 years, he was watching, his neshama was watching his palace, but he couldn't make it in because the key to his Olam Hazeh was by his wife. And only now, after she passes away, she was able to hand him the key to get into his Olam Hazeh. And that's why, after her Levaya, we sat down and celebrated, because her Aliyah was not only Aliyah for herself, but it was Aliyah from the neshama that was wandering for 2.5 years. Uvechein Rabbi Say, Yom Tiv is a time of simcha. It's a responsibility for the husband, for the male of the family, to be besimcha himself, to be mesameach his family, his wife, his children, and ach toiv v'chesed yidufuni kol yemei chayei.